Alright, we're gonna try this again. Mm-hmm. Right. Alright, we should be live now. We got 3 viewers in. That chat popped out. Alright.
You are now entering what can only be described as a true free speech zone, where nothing is off limits and there is absolutely You are now entering what can only be described as a true free speech zone, where nothing is off limits and there is absolutely no censorship. Welcome to Open Mic with Boog Brand.
And we're live.
And we are live. Audio is up. We are good to go. Welcome to our 11th episode of Open Mic with Boog Brand. Tonight, our special guest is Thomas, Chambered Defense. Everybody probably knows him from the chat. He's got one of the moderator tags, everything. All around good guy from everything I can tell. Welcome to the show. He's a good old boy, right?
Yeah, if you listen to my voice, I mean, people hear my voice and they automatically get up 20 IQ points. So.
Yeah, I don't think they go too far in deducting that anymore. People are kind of used to it. So we're going to try a little bit different stuff tonight. We're going to jump around a little bit, change our scenes up. This is something a little bit new. We kind of dialed in our audio. We're going to do some new stuff and try to make things a little bit more interesting for everybody watching, have a little more fun tonight. And I think at the end of the day, it'll provide for a better show. So let me know how it's going, and we'll get back from there. So operator Tony's, yep, he says your audio is super quiet. I can give him a little bit more boost as we're good there. So how are you now?
Better?
We can give you some more
Can you
too.
hear me out there?
So Noob says it's a little bit better. We'll see. I just jacked you up a little bit more, so we'll see how that comes through. So anyways, Thomas, I don't think a lot of people really know who you are, what you do. Why don't you give everybody just a little bit of a rundown of you as you want to present yourself?
So I'm Thomas. I have my own company, of course, Chambered Defense. I work on everything from the basics to the advanced when it comes to firearms. I'm also a chief instructor at a local range here in Hickory, North Carolina, Springs Road Gun Club. I also help another company out. It used to be called a Triggered Response, but with the last few years on the way that Triggered has become a trigger word, he's changing that to ATR. It's probably just going to be at the ready, but we focus mainly on protection pistol stuff. I do everything, and as you can tell by my logo, I focus a lot more on rifles as well when I can. I've been doing this since around 2010, shot since I was 6 years old. Started out with a BB gun, went to a 22, and now I've shot pretty much everything from that all the way up to a 50 BMG. There's certainly things I haven't shot out there, but if I get a chance to, I will. I go all over the country. I try to go at least to 2 classes a year with more of the big guys. Before this COVID stuff started happening, I was actually slated to go to one of Travis Haley's classes. And
That's awesome. You were gone for a second, so that works out really well for everybody. Technical difficulties when we jump through. But anyways, the rundown is basically, you do training, you go out, you get training, and then you try to bring that back. And you're doing stuff with guys like Travis Haley when COVID doesn't shut shit down, and you have a good time when you're doing it. So I know a lot of people here don't really know, everything about your backstory, but I've seen some of your FALs and stuff like that in your pictures on Instagram, some of that stuff. I know you're doing the work now with what you're saying is he's moving into ATR at the ready. The whole deal with that. I know you were talking about possibly wanting to do your own FFL in the future and get into your own sort of thing, but what are you planning on working on there? What do you think? What do you think your specialty is? I know you said you shoot a lot of different rifles, but I know everybody kind of tends to fall into one category or the other.
I guess in that respect, I'm kind of a basic bitch. AKs, ARs, AR, but as far as ergonomics, that was the rifle I've kind of cut my teeth on, especially in the, I hate to say tactical world, but it is America's rifle. Um, I have a bunch of AR. I don't even know how many ARs I have, but I also have several AKs. Hoping to get one done by Fuller Phoenix here in the next year. Just waiting on him to release what he's doing. I'm actually hoping to go out in one of his build classes and actually build a rifle. Like I said before, I go all over, so I try to go to the best people and learn as much as I can and bring that back here. That's the problem with a lot of people, especially they think they get a gun, they buy a cheap Walmart holster, and they think that they're fine and they never train again. Well, I've been doing this for over 30 years now. I've been shooting over 30 years, and I still learn something new all the time. So, and if you're not practicing and training, shooting is a perishable skill, and you can lose that. So also, it's just like anything else, you want to keep up on current tactics and learn the best stuff for the day. I'd love to go out there and train with you.
All right. So yeah, I'm clicking something here. I have to adjust my hotkeys apparently. Now I'm muting us when I'm typing. So don't we all? Somewhere in there's a mute in my hotkeys, I'm guessing. So, but
Like I said earlier, if it's got to do with me, something's gonna go wrong.
I'm just trying to do a little bit too much, I think, tonight, I guess. Trying to get into it. I don't have somebody on the second side, pushing those buttons for me, doing it right, but we're going to get it together. It's another shit show, as Mario Mechanic Molina says. You know what? We come from the tundra side. It's going to be a shit show. It's bound to be. But, we try to have a good time with it. The best part is as much as I screw up the next week, it's always better, right? So
that's right. That's how we learn.
Audio's been garbage for the last couple of weeks, but I think we've got audio dialed in, bringing things together. But we just keep pushing forward. So I'm just not gonna. Yeah, I'm just not gonna text to anybody right now because I don't know exactly what it is, and next time we go on a run, we'll maybe fix that. But yeah, Moose King says get a trained audio get a trained monkey for my audio. Yeah, I probably could, but I think Jamie already works for Joe Rogan, so
they could do better than I could, probably.
Yeah, it's all right. Try more gooder. I'm gonna try more gooder there, Mario. So, focus, you fuck. All right. Anyways, so I know that you work in medical, and I think we've had conversations with gun guys before, and guns are great. And I whatever you want to talk about your business and how you're getting that off the ground, and because I know you're just kind of starting that, I'm more than willing to give you a platform to just say what you want to do with it, what your goals are, and everything like that. But one thing I would like to press is learning that you work in medical. I don't think there's enough emphasis in the tactical community, in the gun community, or in any community nonetheless, of self-care medical, as well as being able to take care of your own family. And with your medical background, I think you're a great person to kind of dive into that a little bit and get into it. I know personally I don't feel that I'm prepared enough, but I know that I'm more prepared than some people. I've got my own tourniquet that I carry all the time. I've got, a general basic surgical kit that I have around the house, at all times. Skinny Medic would be a great guest. But I think Thomas here is just as good in that regard. You've got the experience in the hospitals currently and what's out there. And what do you think, in going to these tactical classes? And I mean, other than like the Stop the Bleed classes or the TCCC classes, there really is not a heavy focus on the medical portion of it. I mean, everybody does some variation of apply a tourniquet and get back into the fight type of situation, but you know, I think a lot of those training classes really go forward and push the whole. As long as you got a chest seal and a tourniquet, you're gonna be fine.
If you don't know how to apply either, you can do more damage than good. So,
Right.
talking about Skinny Medic, I actually took one of his courses as well because he's only about an hour and a half from me. He's a great resource, even if you just look at his stuff on YouTube. I mean, he puts out a wealth of knowledge. Great guy. But I think you're exactly right. I think if you carry a firearm, you need to have medical training as well because, hey, if you put holes in somebody or yourself by accident, God forbid, you need to know how to stop that bleeding. Um, I probably have anywhere from 7 to 10 cat tourniquets in near me or in my vehicle all the time. I carry a full EMS bag. Um, in my vehicle. Plus, there's about 4 rip-off IFAKs. Each one of my bags has an IFAK. I carry a RATS tourniquet in my pocket at all the time, just because it's a little smaller and it'll do in a pinch till I get back. It's much better than a belt. Anybody that says a belt, they don't know what you're talking about. Don't use a belt. Get a qualified, a RATS, a Cat 7, a Soft T. Um, know where to apply those, and also with your chest seals, you can't pack the wound on a chest seal, so you want to make sure you know how to employ that. Having some kind of airway. So we were talking yesterday. We've got MPAs all the way from infant all the way up. I was just made a PAPAL 2 weeks ago, so
Yeah,
I was going
congratulations
through
on
all
that
my
as well.
stuff. Thank you again. And I was just going through my stuff the other day, making sure I had everything good to go for infant all the way up. Like I said, as far as med kits go, I keep a little bit of everything, whether it's just from the boo boo all the way up to I've got a decompression needle. If you've got a collapsed lung, I can fix that. But now I
Right.
have the proper training for that. If you don't have the proper training for that, you should not mess with that at all. You can
Right.
do a lot more damage than good.
Yeah, and that's one thing. Like, I mean, I've done a lot of EMT work. I've done a lot of first responder stuff, and I've never dealt with the tension pneumothorax. So I'm not about to shove a needle in somebody's chest cavity and hope for
No,
the best. But I think that's the biggest thing. Just like with anything related to guns, you definitely got to take it one step further. Go out there and really get the training on it. And if you don't do the training, there's really no sense in even having the equipment. But I mean, if you have it, at least somebody who's trained with it may be able to use it. But at the end of the day, you're spending your money in the wrong place if you have it and you're not trained on it.
exactly. I mean, and there's all things, like we said, talking yesterday, I'm kind of a magazine whore. And I've got probably several hundred magazines, but those will do no good to stop a chest wound or a gunshot wound. So you need to have medical training and know how to do it. So before you guys go out and buy, you know, 10 mags, 12 mags, and you have no medical gear at all, spend some money on some training. And that goes back to training with anything, whether it's firearms, medical. Make sure you train and know how to use those things and vet your instructors. There's so many people out there back in around '08, '10, about when I actually went to start my trail to actually get paid to do this because I've done this. I was always the guy that helped somebody out at the range or took people shooting. So um, there's a lot of people out there, they don't do it. This is a weekend hobby for them. And even though I am, like I say, I'm in the medical field, I put 40 to 50 hours in the medical field, and I put about that same, if not more, into firearms, whether it's training on my own, instructing people, teaching classes, or either working on guns. I do minor gunsmithing. I'm a SIG armor, Glock armor, Smith & Wesson armor, AR armor. Haven't built my first AK yet, but I'm going to work on that.
I guess there's a whole bunch of that going on down in Texas right now. People building their own AKs. Kind of a unique situation. I believe Kalash Bash is going on this weekend. So there's a few people who are
Bash this weekend.
not gracing us with their presence who normally do that I'm jealous of. Absolutely. One of these years maybe we'll get down there, do some fun stuff. But like you said earlier, I'm actually, there's a couple people in the chat that said it. We don't even have AKs. Well, here it is. I'm sitting in a situation. I've got an AR. I've got a pistol. AK is kind of a pipe dream at this point. With as much as they're costing, it's completely ridiculous. But I think ridiculous. I've had the conversation with several people before, even just an all numbers matching Russian SKS that I had 15 years ago and sold for $125 with 1,000 rounds of 7.62. Oh, it makes me cry a little bit.
Yeah, I had a Russian 5.45 and sold it for I think $300 several years ago, basically to fund another build, and I wish I never would have. I remember I've got a couple SKSs I paid $50 a piece for, and I remember AK kits going for $250. And I just kicked myself in the ass for not buying more, but we do with what we can. Right now, like I said, I've got two AKs. I've got two Romies. I'm wanting to bump those rookie numbers up, but that's where I'm at with that. And unfortunately, in this day and age, hopefully the American-made AKs are the market's getting better. I haven't seen any of the I have done the GF3s. I haven't had any trigger time on PSA's new 5.45 gun and the enhanced version yet, but looking to get a hold of one of those and trying those out. I also do testing and evaluation as well. Currently, right now, I've got 3 guns I'm testing, and I'm also testing out the Shield Arm mags. I've got about 600 rounds down a Shield 15 mag for the Glock 43X and Glock 48. And that goes back to anytime I'm going to trust something with my life, I want to make sure that it works properly, whether it be a gun, a tourniquet, magazine, whatever. I want to make sure it works flawlessly before I put that in my everyday carry and make sure it works.
Right. I think, and then I come from, I'm recently back into gun ownership. I don't know if you've heard the story or anything like that, but
oh yeah.
Yeah, I know a lot of people have, but it's like one of those things.
On that.
Yeah, thank you. But it's one of those things, like, I grew up and it was always like every gun had a purpose. Like I had an SKS, which was kind of just an up north woods deer hunting rifle. That's what I used it for. Replaced the 30-30 that I borrowed from my grandpa. Totally raised in footage, as some would say, but I wouldn't trade it for anything. But it's just like one of those things where everything had a purpose, and if you didn't have a reason to have the rifle, you just didn't have it, or you didn't have a reason to have the gun, you didn't need it. And I guess when it comes down to ammo prices and stocking and everything like that, it's worked out well for me because I'm like, I got one rifle, compliments of the Tundra Nation, which I still can't thank them enough for. It's just absolutely amazing, and to even have that in my gun safe is just a minor miracle, and I appreciate it unbelievably. A hunting rifle and my pistols, that's pretty much it. I got a shotgun too, but the shotgun is one of those where it's like I don't even want to take it out because its reliability has been so garbage. It's a Winchester Ranger 120, but it's a semi-auto version, so it's like a unicorn in the shotgun world. But the last time it was actually out, it was unmistakably full auto.
Ah, nice.
Which is
That's
great.
going
It's
on.
an incredible thing to have, except for when you're on a firing line with 3 cops and it's got a 5 round mag and it just oops.
Man, you got a fast trigger finger.
Yeah, and it wasn't intentional. Just it's just one of those stupid things. It's not built to be the gun that it is, and it just failed. So
Those can be extremely ammo finicky as well. Any semi-auto shotgun is very ammo dependent. Usually, I haven't found one yet that would eat everything I put in it. I like the good old pumps when it comes to shotguns.
yeah, and the shotgun that I got literally was given to me by my dad. Shortly after I got off my shit, and it was a gun that was used maybe 2 times in its entirety of life, and it's like 45 years old and has a new barrel on it. That's how bad it was abused in the 2 times it was used.
Nice.
But yeah, I mean, I can't complain because it's there, it works, it's cleaned up now, and now it's functional. But it's still one of those things. It's just gonna be there for buckshot.
Well, speaking to that point, as far as it's fixed up, it's clean, it's ready to go. A lot of people they don't maintain their firearms, and if you're going to trust your life to it, you want to make sure it works. You want to make sure that you do preventative maintenance to it. Now, do I clean all my guns every time I shoot them? No, but my concealed carry, I clean it usually at least once every 2 weeks at minimum, even if I don't shoot it, which I normally do. Usually a week, because people don't realize how much pocket lint, everything will get into those firearms, and depending on what lube you're using, it can dry out. I had a buddy of mine stop by his house the other day, and he has literally not shot his gun in 2 years, and it's set in the same place. And I said, well, let's check it out. And the thing was literally, I think he used rim oil, which is one of the worst things anymore. Just dries up. That thing was so bone dry and had pocket lint all in it, and it was just sitting from his dresser drawer. So we cleaned it up and got it ready to go. That's a thing people don't do a lot of, is preventative maintenance, or think, it's a mechanical device that can fail, and if you don't take care of it, just like your car, it's not going to take care of you.
No, I definitely agree with that. I come from the whole if you shoot it, you clean it, camp. It's even one of those things where it's like the wife who's just new into guns, and I give her a lot of credit just for 2 reasons. I give her a lot of credit. Number one, she's a better shot than 90% of the people that I know, and number two, she just doesn't understand she wasn't a part of it. So to her, not understanding it but accepting it, especially in a time like now, I appreciate it more than she actually knows. But I don't even know where to begin when it comes to cleaning and the stuff that we get. The the guy I bought my wife's gun from, which is her concealed carry gun, he just an older guy, older gentleman, gun range, type. I don't even think he even has a range. It's just a gun store. But I bought her a Sig P238. It's a little 380. It's what she liked. It fit her hand well. It's what was comfortable for her, and I actually kind of like the pistol. I mean, it's a dainty little thing, but Jesus, I mean, I got some big old freaking mitts, but she, it's comfortable for me to shoot. Even it's not as snappy as what it would be if it was a 938 and a 9mm. So got her the 380, the 238, but got it back home, and even just right from the gun store. How many people buy a gun, don't even take it apart and look at it?
Exactly.
I pulled that thing open, and it literally, the oil that was in it must have been petroleum based, because it had just become a seized ball of glue on the slide. Yeah, I mean, it still functioned great because it's a SIG and it's got nice tolerances, but it's like just the little spot where the glue was, it just had built up in there, and I needed to pick it out. It was just ridiculous. So
Yeah, people don't think about that stuff. And I keep a set of dental picks in my gunsmithing and cleaning bag just for that reason. Get carbon, whatever, off of. Speaking of the 238, have you guys had any issues on the takedown on that gun? We've seen probably close to 100 different guns that the takedown lever was starting to back off under firing. In fact, the 938, they ended up Seager replaced several of them because it was falling out during firing.
I have not seen any issue with it. The retention on it's very good. But one thing that I will say is when you're actually, a lot of people miss this portion of the actual assembly on it. When you're putting the takedown lever back in position, if you don't have the slide in the right position, it will not snap in properly.
Right.
And what ends up happening is people force it in. So they're constantly it's a really tiny little nub on that. I could actually see them breaking the top of that nub off and having it during sliding that it actually comes out. I could see that being an issue. It's not something that a lot of people are going to pay attention to, and you could really easily push past that little bit of a notch that thing sits in.
Right.
So,
well, it's a mini 1911. I love those little guns. I'm actually a big 1911 fan. I love the platform. It's probably my favorite handgun in the world. 2 world wars. But I would never.
Did you just out yourself as a FUD?
So I come from Fudlicious there, just like that. But I would never carry that for self-defense purposes. It's an antiquated firearm. It's just like a revolver. Now, if somebody else wants to carry that, that's them. It's also one that has training scars that you have to work through. And that's another thing when it comes to training. People buy guns and, they have safeties, decockers, all kind of things. But the only time that they actually shoot it, they come to the range, they set it on the table, they rack one in the chamber, they never decock it or flip the safety on, and they just shoot it. And so they don't realize that, some of those double action, single action guns have 2 trigger pulls and they never practice one. Well, that's the one you're going to be using on that when it counts. So,
right. And that's true 100%. And I love the pistol she got. I do enjoy it, firing it. And I think as long as, we've always done the training, we've done it right. We've done it where she's constantly doing everything right. The little bit we've gotten out, because it was kind of right before COVID hit, we dealt with all that. But she's done really well. She's brought on, taken to it really well. And I think it's a great pistol for her. But the only thing that I regret actually on it isn't even how antiquated it is, or the fact that it's got a secondary safety. It's an older model, so it doesn't have a grip safety or any of the other features that you kind of got to work through. It's just got the one safety on it, no decocker. So, it's definitely I think it's like a Gen 2. So it's decent, as far as that goes. But my only issue with it is the round count. So, it carries 6, if you got 1 in the chamber, which is great.
Oh, don't get me wrong.
So if you got the mag change, you can do 11 pretty easily. But at the end of the day, I mean, even I've told her what it really takes to stop a person, and it kind of comes. These conversations have come from the police shootings that have occurred and stuff like that. Specifically Jacob Blake here in Brookfield. I'm from Wisconsin, so I mean this one's pretty close to home. A lot of people are freaking out. Well, why'd he shoot him 7 times in the back? Well, because on average it takes 9 shots to stop a person. And from point blank range, his critical duty ammo that he's shooting isn't opening up. It's going through him before it has a chance to even open up. So,
exactly.
I mean, to see him put 7 to 15 rounds in the guy is not going to be uncommon at that closer range in that type of situation. I mean, in an average fight, you're going to have 9 rounds minimum typically is what it's going to take to stop the person from advancing.
Oh, you're exactly right. And, I teach in my classes, whether it takes one shot, which is going to be a freaking miracle because there's only one true one shot, one stop kill, which is a very difficult shot, which is separating the cerebellum from the spinal cord.
Yeah, literally.
And it's a very difficult shot to make. Whether it takes one or if it takes 50, that doesn't matter. It's whatever it takes to stop the threat from doing what they were doing before you started shooting.
Right. You neutralize the threat.
Exactly. And, I hear people, well, why do I need more than 5 shots? Well, what do you think about multiple attackers? And 5 shots may not do the trick. There was a police officer in Texas 2 years ago now that took 6 rounds to the heart. And yeah, of course, she had to be rushed into surgery. She was shot multiple other times as well, but she lived. So it's, it depends on, your load, what you're carrying, what you're shooting, your shot placement. And so I just tell people, shoot till this threat's gone, and whether they die or whether they live is not on us. We're just trying to stop the threat.
Right. And I think, yeah, definitely. And I think you kind of hit too on another subject there. What your load is, what you're carrying. It's not what you're carrying necessarily, the pistol too. Everybody pays so much attention to the tool, they don't pay attention to what you're putting into it. A lot of people don't realize, I hear it all the time in conversations. Well, I shoot critical duty or I shoot critical defense, and I'm saying partial to Hornady because that's what I'm carrying right now. I know there's performance benefits to other things, but what I'm carrying for a pistol, I carry critical duty because I carry with a 5-inch barrel. So I've got a full-size pistol that I'm carrying all the time, and critical duty was designed to be used through a duty pistol or a pistol that's full-size. I've seen people trying to carry critical duty in a 365 with a 4-inch barrel. It is not designed to be used in that short of a barrel. So... No. You're not going to get the velocity. You're not going to get the opening up. You're not going to get as good of, performance out of it as you would if you're using a critical defense.
Right.
But, and there's the same thing happens everywhere else. It's just, people also got to understand what they're putting through their barrel. Is it designed to do that?
Yeah, and a lot of people don't even check that, type of ballistics testing out. I used to carry critical duty or critical defense, back in the day. I lean more towards Federal HSTs or Speer Gold Dot. Speer Gold Dot is my preferred nowadays. But I also have carried some other ones, the Underwood loadings. They have their Extreme Penetrator and their Extreme Defender are really good rounds, but those are not cheap either. And that's another thing, talking about expense. People either carry full metal jacket in their gun because they don't know better or they can't afford it, especially right now with COVID. It's hard to find a box of ammo, much less defensive ammo.
Yeah, I mean, around us, defensive ammo is a lot easier to come by than FMJ or anything like that. And I think that's due to the cost prohibitiveness of it. But at the end of the day, I think I know where you're going with this. It's what are you trusting your life with? You're trusting your life to the $6.99 box of tool ammo that you bought 10 years ago that's sitting in the bottom of your safe? Are you going to trust it to the ammo that was designed to stop a person?
Yes.
FMJ, and yes, I get it. The military uses FMJ. They use it because they have to because of regulation. International rules. Yeah, the Geneva Convention. But if any of those guys had an opportunity or a choice, they'd be using some sort of hollow point because it's going to do a better job more effectively. Plain and simple.
Yes, that's like in my rifle, my duty rifle, not all of them, but some of them I carry the 64 grain Speer Gold Dot. Other ones I use 77 grain or 69 grain Razor Core. in most of my ARs just because of the ballistic performance on it. I do use green tip, but unless you're getting out, you have a longer barreled rifle and you're shooting at distance, the M855 is just not a great round, as we found out over, in wartime in the last few years.
Right.
M85A1 is much better. But going back to pistols, people, I preached to them. I said, when you choose your firearm, you choose your gun, you choose whatever ammo you want to use, do the research, and then run downstairs, to a range or wherever you can fire it, and make sure that it functions properly in your firearm. Because no two firearms are alike, whether they're the same model or not, and they all don't feed the same. And
Mm-hmm.
with projectile geometries, they can change how it feeds. And do you want to trust your life to something you've never fired before?
Mm-hmm. Nope, I get it.
Well, it's expensive.
Yeah, everything's
Well,
expensive.
well, how expensive is your life? That's what I tell
Exactly. Yeah. So I mean, I get that 100%, and as far as defensive ammo and an AR, like what I have in the house, I guess I'm a sucker for red polymer tips or something because I love the Fiocchi VMags, but you
I've
know,
got
from
several of those.
I've just what I've seen performance wise. I mean, shoot a gallon jug with water with one of those compared to a lot of other stuff, and it's just like, my mind has changed. My mind is made up. That's what I'm going to use for home defense because number one, it didn't go through the jug; it destroyed the jug. So
Right. That's
and a milk
actually
jug is a great kind of qualifier for what a human body's going to do to a round or what it's going to do to it. So, to me, that was it for me. I mean, when I saw the milk jug incinerate on the bottom half, I was like, yep, yep, that's the one for if somebody comes in my house, they need to be taken down.
that is actually the round that I have for my in-house gun. Also because that's the gun we have. Well, I'm out in the country, and so we have coyotes out there all the time. So that's actually a good round for taking down varmint as well.
Hmm.
But I have several cases of that, and that's what I keep in my actual house gun when I'm at now. If I'm going out of the house, and which I normally carry one of my AR pistols, an 11 and a half, and I run the 64 grain in it. But a house, I run that 55 grain Fiocchi red tip. It's a great varmint round, and like you said, it doesn't really penetrate, or it dumps all its energy,
Yeah,
so I
it,
don't have
it
to worry
literally
about
dumps its
going off
energy in
on
the first thing it hits. Yeah. So I mean, we've covered a lot about guns. We've done that. I know we've got about 20 minutes left with you before we kind of have to hard stop here. Um, but I do want to
I
kind of
can
get
go a
it.
little bit longer.
I do want to get in with you. I don't want to take you away from your work because I know, you're just like the rest of us. You got a full time gig. You gotta maintain. But I do want to go a little bit more into the medical sort of side of things with you. Um,
Okay.
as far as like if somebody's gonna set up an IFAC kit, and I know 100% it depends on your training, but um, if you're gonna have something, if you were to recommend somebody to set up an IFAC, what would you recommend be in that kit? And then obviously I think from there people can kind of get garner where they need to take their training as far as medical just to get their feet wet. Because I think a lot of people don't know medical is a huge realm. And if you don't have the background and understanding, you don't really know where to start. And that I think keeps a lot of people from getting into the training on it. So I think just a basic IFAC, what would you recommend for somebody?
Well, when I go into my IFACs or whatever first aid kit it's going to be, I look at kind of like I do with guns. What's the purpose of it? In my, like I said, on my range belt, I have basically just some seal locks, pressure bandage, and chest seals and packing gauze. Just because I want to stop the bleeding. But now, if you're looking at building a kit for the house and you have children, you need to look at having, kids Tylenol, Motrin, little boo-boo stuff, Band-Aids. People overlook that stuff all the time. Benadryl, uh, just every little thing that you might actually need. Now, one that I specifically carry that's kind of a go bag that I have set up in the vehicle is it has extra ammo and it's a full blowout kit, has decompression needles, things like that. So you look at what you're actually going to be using it for. If it's kind of a one kit fits all, then you need to have a wide range. If it's just going to be okay, I'm going shooting and I want to be able to stop the bleed. I would, at the very minimum, I would have a good tourniquet like a Cat 7 or the burning fart. Rats at the very minimum, but the soft T, they've come out with that new one, the ratchet one. I haven't had much experience with that, and I just stay tried and true with the Cat 7. They're not cheap, and if you find them on Amazon for $15, it's not a real Cat 7. So do not trust that. Spend the $30 and get a real Cat 7. Chest seals, seal locks. You want something that's going to actually clot that blood, and some kind of packing agent, and then some kind of pressure bandage. I like the Israeli bandage, and I also like the Oleas bandage. Skinny Medic, matter of fact, he sells all that stuff. The Oleas bandage actually has an eye cup into it, so if you were to have a head injury or an eye injury, it's got a cup to protect that, so you can wrap around the head. I have several different setups, and all of them have the basic needs, just to stop the bleed and whatnot. Then I also have my boo-boo kits. Boo-boo kit, like Band-Aids, Tylenol, Motrin, even MPAs in those. I have MPAs in all my actual IFAKs for gunshots, but in my big bag, I have irrigation. If you're setting it up to go on camping, maybe you need a SAM splint, maybe so that you can, brace an arm if somebody breaks an arm or a leg. Ace bandages. Let's see what else.
Real quick, I know you've mentioned the NPA. I know a lot of people in chat probably aren't familiar with it. I know exactly what you're talking about it with the nasopharyngeal airway, but a lot of people just not even understanding. I just want to make sure everybody understands when he's saying NPA, he's talking about a nasopharyngeal airway, which is the actual terminology for it. NPA for short, and it's just a makeshift airway. It opens the everything up to allow air to go through what would normally be a blocked airway. So if somebody has swelling in their throat, somebody has a lot of blood going through their throat, it offers a passageway of open air that can actually get down into the lungs. So just want to make sure everybody understands that. So not that somebody's sitting here going, what's an NPA? You're trying to look it up, because you may not find the exact information that you need. And typically a good kid, if you want to start from infant all the way through adult, I think it's like 7 different NPAs that go through it. They're color coded. I know a bunch of people offer it. I think my kit itself is actually from Lightning Products. It's a great place to start. They do, and I have no affiliation with them, but they do a nice little kit where it's, from Boo Boo all the way up to just before like chest seal tourniquet necessity, because they don't really delve into that. So from there you have to build on top of it, but they actually provide a bag that you can put it in. It's a nice little paramedic go bag type thing, but I was turned on to them. They put together nice little kits that you can really start everything from, as far as a main bag. But like I said, we're kind of talking IFAKs too. Everything depends on your training, but obviously you have multiple setups for multiple different purposes, and that's huge. And you need to know the purpose of your setup to begin with. So.
Right. Looking in the chat, thoughts on some sort of wide spectrum antibiotic from Crazy Eyes. Yes, I actually do carry antibiotics as well. And one thing a lot of people don't know is you can go to the vet and or veterinary stores and get actual antibiotics over the counter. Now, are they the exact same as human? No, but you can look up. We could spend a whole night on that, just talking about that. But you can cross reference and find out what you would not need to have. Now that would be more in like my EMS bag. I wouldn't have that in an IFAC
Right.
because if I'm trying to stop bleeding, I'm not worried about giving them an infection.
Right. Exactly.
I just
Doesn't
want
matter if they get infected if they get alive.
another thing. Keep check on glove integrity. That's exactly right, Ash. I especially if you're keeping them in cars or traveling, anything like that. Heck, here at the hospital, we can pull them out and they got slits and holes in them. So make sure you're rotating out your bandage or your gloves, especially. You need to rotate out your gear that has an expiration date on it anyway.
Yeah, that's a big thing
Um,
too. Is make sure your expiration dates are good because, I mean, in a pinch they'll work if they're expired, but at the end of the day they're not as sanitary likely because the seals. The majority of the reason they have an expiration date is because they're packaged in a particular way, and that package has only got integrity to last a certain amount of time. So even though it may look fine, you've had open air contact with that for 6 months in the trunk of your car. You don't know what's on it. So it may
exactly.
work in a pinch, but if you're really wanting to make sure you don't have anything expired, it is a good thing.
Yeah, I go through. I kind of take the same thing with Aaron from Sage Dynamics and changing your batteries every year on your optics and things. I do the same thing, and I also check all my expirations on my birthday. It's just an easy day for me to remember, and just go ahead and do it like that. Most of your stuff like that is going to last anywhere from 1 to 3 to 5 years, depending on the product. So, it's yes, it's an investment, but and another thing is too, once those run out, you can use those to train with, and you're not spending any extra money. You're just keeping your stuff up. Uh, Now, as
Right.
far as medicines go, like your Tylenol, your Benadryl, even though they may pass the expiration date, they're still going to be fine. The efficacy is not going to be quite as well. So, instead of having to take one Tylenol, you may have to take two if it's two or
Yep.
three
Yep.
years out.
Yep. Just so everybody knows, if you go to the free clinic, you're getting expired meds, and they literally tell you, yeah, they're expired, but they work at about 80%, is what we say. So after they're
Right.
expired, they say for the first year it's like 80%, then it's 60%. Then the only thing that I definitely, if it's an expired product, I would not recommend taking antibiotics.
No, no. Keep
Antibiotics,
your
once
hand.
they're expired, they're expired. Don't use them. Get rid of them. Replace them. Whatever you can do. I mean, and as far as antibiotics, you can make your own antibiotics, but the ability to do it properly, sterile, everything like that, you're better off just going and trying to get them. Even going to your fleet stores, stuff like that, you can get horse medications, horse antibiotics. In a pinch, they're better than nothing, and it's a matter of just dialing it down. You're not going to give yourself the same dose you would give a 400-pound horse, obviously. So, dial everything back based on weight, and pretty much you're going to be safe. It's just, you might start kicking your leg funny or something. Who knows?
Yeah, Ash, Vashti Angel, Ashley. We all love you, Ash. Um, she brought up a good point as far as meds being kept in. They lose some of their stability at 76 degrees, and that is more like your antibiotics and some of your other things. So your normal Tylenol, things like that, it's not going to really affect, but some of them do. But I don't keep that kind of stuff in my vehicle all the time unless I'm just traveling and then it gets taken out. So just keep that in mind. That's one thing you got to worry about when it comes to medical as well. Another thing about my packs, every one of them has an extra flashlight. I carry a flashlight, but I also have an extra flashlight and a Sharpie in my medical kit. Um, you never know when you're going to need light. I keep glow sticks in them as well. Batteries die too, so if you can have any extra light source, I mean, I even keep a little light on my keychain, even though I've got a 500 lumen in my pocket. So, and I'm not very far from an IFAC or a flashlight or a handgun anytime, anywhere I go. So, it's always a good thing with the Sharpie. If you put on a tourniquet, we need to know what time that was put on. So we can work. You got to worry about things like compartment syndrome, especially if it was put on incorrectly. So also we need to know when that blood flow is stopped. So plus if you've got something, another thing is too, I didn't go back to this, know what your blood type is. Know if you have any allergies. I have patches on all mine of my blood type and my allergies. And hell, I even thought at one time about getting it tattooed on my chest. So
It's not a bad deal. There's a reason they put that information on dog tags. Like, you don't know who's gonna come up and do something with you. And me, I have, interestingly enough, I have an allergy to adhesives, specifically adhesives on like Band-Aids. So
I misread that. I was thinking that was Angela Verdun. That's actually my wife.
That's your fiance.
Fiance. Yeah. Well, see, she's in the medical field too. She's smart.
That's good.
She's definitely my better half. I'm definitely the worst half of that. And I'm sorry, honey. Shout out to Vashti Angel. But she's my fiance, but we might as well be married. We're actually not married because we're waiting on our youngest one to go to college, and if we get married, we make too much money for him to get any kind of scholarship. So,
well, that's good.
Yeah, crazy eyes. I'm fucked. You're right.
Well, it's all right. She says a good answer, so you're good. Seems you're in the clear. So, I think back to, Dr. Catmull. He says, "For the love of all that is holy, finish your antibiotic prescription." Yes, I understand, but no, I don't like to take the shit. So I think a lot of us are guilty of this. We just don't take it. I actually have a buddy who, if he's prescribed antibiotics, he will purposely hold on to them in case he starts getting a cold, and I tell him he's an idiot. But
yeah, cold isn't going to help. Antibiotics don't help.
I'm like the type of colds that he's probably likely to get, they probably would. But I mean, he's also probably should be taking his prescription eyeglasses and safety glasses to the titty club. So he's that type of guy. So you never know. Antibiotics might actually help his cold.
Yeah, he might be having that other infection.
That herpetogonosyphilitis shit. But end of the day, I appreciate your time coming on. I know we're getting close to the end here of what we had time slotted because you got to get into work and all that stuff. But I know we've held up a little bit, talking about guns, talking about medical. Do you want to talk a little bit real quick about, what you're planning on doing here over the next year with Chamber Defense and what you really want to get into, where you want to go?
Sure. Like I say, I'm a chief instructor at a local range here, but I've also been doing this on my own for several years, and basically it's been by word of mouth, and I get good business just from that. Just people like the training. I'm not trying to pump myself up or anything, but if I can get myself out there, that's one reason I started my Instagram, just to do the business part of it. That's my bad thing, is I don't like social media. And so I've just done Instagram mainly as a business thing. And unfortunately, the way that the overlords here, as far as tech goes, they don't like firearms. So it's kind of hard. I've got a lot of more content that I'm ready to upload. I actually started a YouTube that's going to be under the same name as Chamber Defense, but I don't have any content up there yet. I've got some, but I want to make sure it's all good quality before I put it online. We're actually, next week, I'm actually doing a collaboration with the range and another one of my buddies. We're going to be testing out some armor That's probably going to be one of the first videos that gets put up there. Um, and I like to do everything from the basics all the way up to the advanced when it comes to pistols, shotguns, rifles. I have all those certifications, so I do a little bit of everything. I do private instruction, concealed carry instructor, I have about every certification that the NRA has to offer. I was also a USCCA instructor, but I kind of let that go because it wasn't one that was recognized everywhere, especially by states. The states, it's either you got to be law enforcement instructor or an NRA certified instructor. So
Right.
I hate giving the NRA money right now, but it just keeps up my instructor certs.
USCCA is taking off a little bit more. They're getting better, but definitely one of those things where there's that. So,
so I'm wanting to put more content up on the Instagram and the YouTube, and mainly what I'm going to do. What my idea is for the YouTube is to give short little snippets of training, things like that, and be able to help people out. Also, maybe do some class stuff on there as well. See where it goes. Basically, like I say, I know YouTube hates firearms, so it may never get off the ground. But
I say you're better off just trying it and let YouTube do what they're gonna do. The fact of the matter is a lot of people that talk about YouTube, fucking with them or anything like that. It's more or less about monetization, and similar to what we do here, we don't monetize, so I don't care. You can fuck with me all you want. I know a lot of people didn't get notifications this last week. I went live for a little bit just playing Among Us game just to try and test the audio out. And, it didn't matter to me. I don't care. If you don't get my notifications, I'm sorry. I'm not going to cry about it. I will probably cry if Tony hangs me if I don't ask this question. So Operator Tony has been asking all night and he wants to know, will you, if there's a Tundra meetup or when there's a Tundra meetup, be trying to attend that?
Sure. I don't know if I can make it to, what is it? Is it Minnesota? Or if he's going to be in Nevada by then. But yeah, I'd love to.
So I think a lot of us would love to, and I think it was an awesome idea, and we were trying to hope for it, and then COVID shit all over 2020, and here we are hoping to fucking hell that there isn't a 13-month for 2020 coming up.
Yeah, there probably will be.
I feel like at this point we're pretty close to this situation where I think in 27 days we're gonna find out how deadly COVID is.
Yeah, it's literally less than the flu. I mean, people might not say that, but the efficacy of the death rate is less than the flu.
Right, and I agree. I understand it. I think a lot of people have played politics with it, and not to go. Sorry,
that's all it is.
Not to go into it more because I think at this point everybody's tired of hearing about it. Everybody's tired of seeing it. Yeah, Crazy Eyes says that COVID will be gone by November 4th. I think the election infection is definitely something we're dealing with right now. I think we need to move past it. The issue is going to be, how do you take 90% of the population who are scared shitless of something that you don't need to be scared of and turn them around now? Because
that's all. It's been politicized, and the main media is making it worse and scaring people that don't know any better.
Right. I mean, everybody's going to get it eventually. Back in March when they were talking about these shutdowns and everybody was like, yeah, you know what? Fuck it. For the good of everybody, we'll do 2 weeks. It was all about delaying so we could get supplies, so the medical community could get prepared, understand it better. I think we understand it pretty goddamn good now. I think there's plenty of fucking supplies. It's just a matter
And you
of
know,
nobody ever said, okay, well, now we have all this shit. Let's let everybody go. Let everybody free again and do whatever. Because once you give away a little bit of freedom, they're never going to give it back. It's just like a
yep,
tax. They're never going to
yep,
take it away.
exactly.
They're only going to add to it. So if you want change, you need to make change. And I think there's still opportunity to do that at the ballot box. I think maybe I'm a little bit of an optimist in that, but you want to send a message to everybody. I think I said it last week. You want to send a message. I don't care if it's Republican or Democrat. If they're sitting in the fucking office and they're on that ballot, vote the opposite fucking person in. Kick them all out. Tell them we're done.
Mhm. Yep, and that's the problem with career politicians. They just end up getting in there, making money, and doing whatever they want. They don't care about the constituents. This whole shutdown is a sham. It's just like what you're talking about the original first 2 weeks. Well, the hospital and the other clinic that I worked at, they were ghost towns. Everybody was afraid to go out, and now we're seeing more people getting it, even though there are some that have immunity compromise that should be worried, but that's the same with the flu. Um, the A lot of times we're seeing these patients and not even having symptoms. But I will tell you this, just from what I do here at the hospital, and the interactions that I have with them now, I have not had COVID yet. Knock on wood. But
Yeah, there you go.
if it transmitted like they say it does, I would have had it a long time ago. I deal with COVID patients every day. I'm here in the hospital. It's just one part of my job that every night I have to go and interact and deal with them. So
Well,
it's
I know it's a running joke with me and the wife in the house. I constantly say that you can only contract COVID by licking somebody's asshole.
mm, mm,
Because the fact of the matter is like if it was so deadly and so transferable, you wouldn't have to scrape your fucking brain to test for it.
exactly. You're exactly right.
So
So
with that, we're at 9:03 p.m. Central Standard Time, which means it's 10 p.m. 10:03 p.m. your time. I don't want to keep you too late because I know you got to get into work and kind of get ready for things for the evening. And um, you are one of those people who are definitely a, what's the term now? Um, well, you're a hero. You work in the medical field, right? So everybody considers you a hero. You're there. You're doing what you got to do. I'm not downplaying that at all. You're a decent person. You're doing great work, and I don't want to keep you from that. So, um,
I'm just a dude playing another dude.
but you know what? You're playing them well. So
Exactly.
I definitely look forward to what you got coming up with Chamber of Defense. I definitely look forward to seeing what you're putting out with your training stuff. And in the future, I hope that, not only myself, but a couple other people that are even here in this chat can get out there and actually get some training from somebody like you. If not from you directly, definitely somebody who thinks of things like you do. Um, and, definitely as things go forward, I hope that you can even get, some of the medical stuff in there because your experience in the medical field and your understanding of the medical field, regardless of what segment of medicine you work in, is greater than a lot of these people that are out there pushing this stop the bleed or doing this or doing that. And I'm not taking away from any of the TCCC classes that are out there. I'm just taking away from a lot of the guys who are similar to VODA, who are saying, oh, medical, medical, medical. Vet your people, like you said earlier, understand where they come from. And if they're trying to give you medical training, ask them what medical experience they have. Because if their medical experience comes from a high school lifeguard class that they took, they're probably not the fucking guy to train you in medical.
Exactly. And going back to that, I don't care if you train with me or train with anybody else, as long as it's good quality training. And when it comes to the end of the day, I want to give my students the best chance that they can to be able to defend themselves and to be the most efficient at what they do, whether it be medical, whether it be a handgun, shotgun, rifle. I worked for a company at one point where they wanted us to push all this gear and all this because that's what they sold, and I wasn't like that, and I I had to separate from the company basically. And so it's just like, I want what's best for you as a student, whether that be a certain firearm or a certain product, whatever works best for you. If by God, all you can afford is a High Point, a Yeet Cannon, by God, get it. But if you can afford something better and you bought a High Point because it was cheaper, well, you just put a price tag on your life. And my life is worth a lot more to me than $150. I
Right.
have guns from all the way. I have a couple High Points. I actually bought those for my kids when they were younger, thinking if they mess them up, I'm not out anything. And I have guns that cost several $1,000s, but I carry a $500 striker fired handgun that works every time I go back. It shoots every time I pull the trigger. So,
Right.
whatever works best for you is what I want for my students.
Right, and if it's like you said, if it's all you can afford, don't let people shame you. Don't let people say, "Well, that's nothing." I will say, if you could afford $150, maybe you should look and see what else you can afford. Maybe $100 more. Wait another couple weeks and buy something a little bit better. But
Exactly.
at the end of the day, if it's all you got, it's all you got, and use what you got. Train with what you got. And there's guys who are out there, just for shits and giggles, that are running these IDPA matches and shit like that are using, yeet cannons, YC9s, whatever, just for shits and giggles, and because they've trained with it, they're good with it, and you can't take away from that. It may be a tank, it may be a beast of a fucking ugly monster, but
Boat anchor.
it works. And in general, it works almost all the time.
Mhm.
My
They're actually
issue with
very
them,
accurate guns.
my issue with them is that it's that 1% of time that they don't work.
Mhm.
It's
Well,
the fact that they're a fucking brick in your pocket. But at the same point, if you wanna suppress a 9mm, you want to suppress a 45. Get yourself a yeet cannon. Those barrels are fixed. There ain't nothing fucking better for it.
exactly. They make great suppressor hosts.
Yep,
And
they are great with those fixed barrels, and you can't beat them when it comes to
they're more,
suppressors.
people don't realize that, but they're actually more inherently accurate because of that fixed barrel.
Yep.
So it's great.
So, with that, I think we'll call it for the night. I do want to say, like I've said before, just so everybody knows, I'll never monetize this stream. I don't care who you are. If you want a platform, I know, Thomas, I had reached out to you knowing that you were just starting things out. But if anybody's looking to start something, anybody wants to get their feet wet, wants to come on a show, reach out to me. We'll get you on the show. We'll have a good time. I'll give you a platform, something you can speak on. And at the end of the day, I'm going to do everything I can to help people that are like Thomas, like you in the chat, who may want to start something but don't know where to go, don't know where to start. Hit me up. I'm here for you. I don't care how big you are, how small you are. I will give you a platform, a place to speak your mind. My monetization does not come from, YouTube. My monetization comes from my business, boogbrand.com. Thomas is wearing it right there with the I Like to Go Fast shirt. That's one of our more recent shirts. Got the boog on the sleeve, just the way it should be. I love that shirt. It's a great one. The blueprint one's another great one. I know, Thomas, you got that one too.
Yep.
I that's where my bread and butter is. You want to support this stream, you want to support what we do here, head to boogbrand.com, find something you like, and buy it. If you don't find something you like, reach out to us, let us know, and we'll try to make something you like. I don't care. I got time, and if I only sell one fucking shirt, and it's to the person who requested it, I think it's still a positive because I gave you something that you wanted. So, um, we do that. We do a bunch of other stuff. I know we did your logo for you. That's a new service that we're starting to offer. The whole point of my business is to build my portfolio for graphic design. So, um, I've got a couple other logos that I'm working on for other people right now. That's something that graphic design is graphic design. If you want something made, come to us. That's all I can say. I'm not looking for anybody to send me anything in PayPal. I'm not looking for anybody to pay out money for anything. Just you like to stream, buy something. Think about buying something, or remember us if you know somebody who's looking for something. That's all I think about. So that's all this is about. So from my end, that's all I've got. Thomas, if you have anything you want to leave us with we're at 9:11 my time, 10:11 your time. So I don't want to keep you too late here.
Well, I want to thank you for having me on. Also, thanks for the graphic design work you've done for me as well. And hope we can do more in the future. Uh, and for those of you that hadn't bought a Bird Brand shirt, why haven't you get on it? You know, I'm actually we were talking earlier, if you got kids, he's got some pretty cool designs. I'm fixing to buy one for my grandson. Scroll down to the Boot Brand page and look on the website. You'll see the one I'm talking about. So,
We're gonna do a couple more of those. I think I literally just got in my son's 12 to 18 month beard flex shirt. You got to have the beard flex onesie too. My dad's beard is better than yours is. So
anybody's beard's better than mine.
hey, you got some facial hair, so you're not fully baby face. At least you got something. So
yeah, when I do, I look like a 12-year-old. So
I don't even remember what I look like without a beard. It's been like 5 years since I've had anything, and the last time before I had that, I had these Fu Man chops going on. I mean, I was definitely rocking some shit, old school 1800s type shit. But
what I want everybody to get out of this is just train with your firearm, train with your medical gear, whether it be with me or anybody else. Just make sure that they're vetted and it's not Boda or someone like that, and do what's best for you. But whatever it takes, do make sure that you're training, because just having a gun is not going to do you any good. If you've never practiced drawing that firearm, if you've never practiced using it, if you never practiced changing a mag, whenever the time crunch is on and life or death matters, you want to be ready. So just make sure you keep that in mind. And that's pretty much it. I appreciate it. I'm gonna, like I said, hit me up on YouTube, Instagram. If you want to direct message me there, that's perfectly fine. Like I said, I've started the YouTube that's Chambered Defense the same way. I'm going to be getting some content up there soon.
Yeah. Make sure you guys follow that. It's Chambered, CHAMBERD without the E, Defense. Just so you're aware how things are on the stream. What I've got here. The Instagram is up there. Chambered Defense. I want you to follow this guy. If you ain't following him already, you should be. I think you've got some really cool shit coming down the pipe, and I'm really excited to see which way you go with it. So, you appreciate you thanking me for me having you on, and I just appreciate you coming on. So, like I said, I don't care who you are, how big you are. If you want to come on, I just want to have a conversation with you. So, I just really enjoy having conversations, and if I can offer a platform for somebody like you who's just getting started, regardless of if you're just getting started or if you've done this for years, I don't care. I just want to have a place where you can come and be you and talk about what you actually want to do and get going that way. So I really do appreciate it. I don't want to hold you up anymore. I know you got to get going to work. So with that, Thomas, thank you again, and
thanks.
in the future, if you ever want to come on, if you got something big coming up, just let me know. Yeah, we'll definitely do this again. You're a great guest. Appreciated it. And, got nothing else. Crazy Eyes says he just followed you on Instagram. Good for you, Crazy Eyes. Everybody else in the fucking chat better go do it too. So I'm going to hold you to it.
Thanks, everybody in the
If
chat.
we don't get him up over 200 by the end of next week, I'm going to be pissed.
Thanks, everybody in the chat. And, thanks to Vashti Angel, my fiance, my wife.
There you go. Get those brownie points in.
And shout out to my grandson, Tuck, if he ever watches this someday. So he's 2 weeks old tomorrow. So we're very excited for him. So.
Yeah, congratulations for that again. There ain't no better feeling, I'm sure of it. So, again, appreciate your time. For everybody in the chat, we'll see you next week. I may not have the guest listed yet, and I may not list the guest until next week, so who knows? I do have a guest lined up. I just don't want to release it yet, so I'm playing that out. So everybody in the chat, thanks for stopping by, Thomas. Appreciate your time, and until next week, everybody stay safe and don't fuck your own shit up. All right?